So initially I had recorded this video just over a week ago. It's just about like emotional neglect and how it can affect people. This is a shout out to anybody who has suffered from emotional neglect. Anybody who watches my videos, the point of my video is not to get famous, it's just to let you know you're not alone. So naturally I have talked about this, that I have suffered from emotional neglect, and I am, like, as an adult, I'm in my 30s and I am suffering even to this day. It's been almost 3 years since I moved out, but I'm still going through this. Therapy is something that's never going to end. It's going to have to keep on going. So something I know that I do is I bottle up my emotions. What I do, it comes to the point where it gets very intense at a point, and eventually I'll have a day when I just break. I have to let it out. I have a bit of a breakdown. I might fight with somebody, and it's just bad. The other thing that I definitely notice is being a little bit overly altruistic. Now, altruism just means putting somebody else first. Like, sometimes you don't seem to value yourself enough that you just put somebody else ahead of you, and while they think, oh, you're just a nice person at heart, now it's actually not good to ignore yourself. Sometimes the other thing that can happen is you completely feel like you're broken inside, like nothing can fix you. And I think anybody watching my videos feels that all too often, that they feel broken, like they feel nothing will ever be right with them, and it's okay to feel that way. Sometimes I really have trouble identifying the emotion that I'm feeling. Like, I do write poetry, and I find that's probably the easiest way for me to identify them. But a lot of times I just can't understand, like, what am I feeling? Is it anhedonia? Like, what is it? Like, why am I feeling this way? And unfortunately, it's because when your parents sort of like force you not to feel, like, say, oh, why the long face? And they get angry at you for so much, crying or anything like that. They tell you, like, why don't you cry? Can't you grow up? Like, naturally, this is going to happen to you. You're not going to have a very good prognosis, like, if you keep in that thing. The other thing, this happened, like, I recall, like, actually, when I was in high school, like, this next point, this was something that the teachers actually talked to me about. Like, they said, you're way too hard on yourself. Now, unfortunately, you are going to be hard on yourself if your parents are, pushing you so much and not accepting you for the way you are. Now, I have mentioned that I have issues with perfection, and I will probably always have issues with perfection, and the pursuit of perfection can often become a bit of an obsession, and it sucks, but that's just the way it is. I find also it's very difficult to ask for help. Like, supposing I was in a financial situation where I couldn't pay my medications, I would probably just end up not going without the medications, and that's just how it would be, because it's very difficult to ask for help when you're struggling with emotional neglect. Lacking self-esteem. Like, I've never really had much self-esteem as it is, and I've always envied people who could have self-esteem, but a lot of people whom I've encountered who have high self-esteem tend to be narcissists, and they're kind of toxic people whom you don't want to be around. And the last point I gotta make is, you kind of feel like there's an empty void in your body, like something can't fill the void. And I can tell you that a lot of people develop hoarding issues. Like, they might buy a ton of items that they'll never ever use, like tons of, maybe, like, I don't know, Xbox consoles or whatever the heck. So, like, just hoard them, and then they'll never use them. But then they're filling up an empty void that they don't understand is really there, needs to be done by therapy. Anyway, if you found this video helpful, feel free to leave a message in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching.